Hey YouTube, what's up? I'm Deep Fried. I just switched from streaming in German to streaming in English, and this is actually my first reaction video. We're looking at a video from Call Eastward about the next generation Xbox, maybe coming as an OEM hybrid PC in 2026. Let's take a look together.
Recent leaks from devs behind the upcoming hardware share an insight into not one, but two next generation powerful consoles. And it's
Okay, so it's just leaks, it's not confirmed, but I kind of have a feeling the leaks are solid. But
not
let's
what you
dive
expect.
into it. Is it so loud for you as well? It's very loud for me.
Xbox has a partnership with AMD for multi-device engineered system on chips that will offer custom console PC hybrids with a head start into next generation, possibly 2 years before the next PlayStation console. Hardware leakers are now revealing that Xbox's hardware plan will start as early as 2026, starting with an OEM console PC hybrid.
So I don't know if you understood what I meant. So there were rumors already that maybe the next Xbox wouldn't even be produced by Microsoft, but by OEMs. So that's basically PC manufacturers like Asus or why can't I only think of that one? Compaq, Dell, I don't know. Yeah, so companies that actually build PCs are gonna build the next Xbox. And the second rumor also appears to be true, a hybrid. So it's not only gonna be able to play Xbox console games, but also PC games, meaning stuff from Steam, for example, which I'm sure he will get into in a minute. So that would be huge.
This will most likely be
Told me that
Asus or
before.
Lenovo or even Razer with a
Razer, Lenovo, yeah.
PC
That's
console form factor.
what I didn't
The
think
idea
of.
is for Microsoft to implement a partnered Xbox device a year before the full launch of next generation.
And this is the second information that I also heard already. So this could be like next year, a year before the actual next generation Xbox. So I think he's probably gonna say that in a minute as well. So maybe we should watch it first. But so there's gonna be also an official Microsoft Xbox still. So they're not completely abandoning that, but they would first start with OEMs building an Xbox, and then Microsoft's gonna release an Xbox the year after that, maybe.
This means you'll essentially get a brand new next generation Xbox console built by a third-party company with all of the support software and hardware that Xbox and AMD have planned in their pipeline. Simply put, Xbox is working on a system on chip with AMD that will be fully compatible with the Xbox library, but also powerful enough to play PC games.
Yeah, so they already announced that they have a partnership with AMD. I mean, or they always had a partnership. I think the current chips are also made by AMD, right? But they renewed that. So they're working on a new chip that is still compatible to Xbox software, but also powerful enough for PC software. So yeah, the interesting part is the price point, I think, but I don't think any information is
This gives the
in the
Xbox
video about that.
ecosystem the leverage and flexibility of multiple storefronts while also supporting
Multiple
the
storefronts,
conventional
Steam.
Xbox console titles you own right now. Think of this as a plug-and-play, direct-to-TV or monitor PC that cannot be modified or upgraded, but will simply
So yeah, the interesting bit he's saying, and I'm not sure if it's just speculation, that you cannot modify this PC. Probably makes sense concerning stuff like graphics chips and CPU and stuff. But why shouldn't you be able to extend RAM or put an extra SSD in or something? So that's a bit weird for me, because if you're marketing as this is also on PC, not just an Xbox. So yeah, usually the PC people, right, they want to be able to modify stuff, but we will see. So this is too early, I think, to really tell. You have to play the games with the gamepad. I mean, you can already play with PC with mouse and keyboard on Xbox, Sammy. That's irrelevant. You can play with a gamepad on PC. So this is the least relevant part. It has always been up to the software. If the software supports a keyboard and mouse or a gamepad. So, but if you're tailored towards a console crowd, then of course people will prefer to play with a gamepad. But if you're also playing Steam games on it, then you want to connect a mouse and a keyboard. but you stick with the hardware, so we cannot play all the PC games. No, that's the point. You can play all the games, not just Microsoft games, Microsoft Store, but also Steam or Epic or whatever. It's gonna be a full compatible PC. That is the idea here.
Be the device strictly made for gaming. Xbox notoriously skipped the mid-generation console refresh, leaving fans of the Xbox Series S and X console behind with 2020 hardware.
Yeah, okay, so what he's referencing here is PlayStation released a new PlayStation 5 Pro, right? So mid-gen refresh that's stronger. And Microsoft did the same thing back with the Xbox One, where then the One X came out. But with the Series, they decided against it. Probably also because not enough people even bought the Series. If we're honest, it's really low adoption rate, unfortunately. So I think they skipped that and are proceeding with next generation instead. What do you think about that? I think it's awesome. Well, it's too early to make any buy decisions. I mean, it all depends on price and stuff. I already have a gaming PC, so I don't need to play PC games on Xbox. But yeah, we will see.
They did this knowing they would be leveraging OEM companies like Razer or Asus to build a third-party.
Asus? Is that how you pronounce it? I always thought Asus. Asus? Where does the long U come from? Asus?
OEM PC hybrid to bridge the gap between.
LOL! He just can I go back? Easy to upgrade, it says, while he says you cannot upgrade it, so clearly that footage has nothing to do.
Hybrid to bridge the gap between next generation a year later. This will give software and hardware developers the opportunity to become attuned to the Xbox SoC that will be powering the next generation.
Yeah, so the idea is developers can already get familiar with the new SoC, so the system on a chip, before then the actual next official Xbox from Microsoft comes out. I can imagine it's gonna be a bit confusing for customers, but that's classic Microsoft, right? Let's confuse everybody with our weird names. So after Xbox, we don't do Xbox 2, we do Xbox 360. You know? After 360, we do Xbox One, and after Xbox One, we do Xbox Series. So no one that doesn't follow this closely will understand any of it. How about streaming with the hardware on Twitch? Well, you can already do that with the current Xbox, so I don't think anything changes about that. It's still always not so nice to stream from the same device that you also play, which is why I clearly prefer streaming on my PC but playing on my Xbox, so it's much easier to manage. And I think most PC streamers also have two PCs, one PC for streaming and one for playing. I think it's the best experience.
Third-party console and the upcoming first-party traditional Xbox console. Since development and porting of games will be much.
So it just said the upcoming traditional, and I'm not sure if there's more information in the video. So I assume that the Microsoft Xbox probably does not have the PC support. Would be more like the classic console. That would make sense to me. Like, it would be the cheaper budget option for classic console gamers. Because this hybrid console is probably going to be expensive like a PC, right? So we're talking at least €1,000, $1,000. But it's just my speculation here.
More PC-like, the friction of moving into next generation will be alleviated with a smoother transition across PC and consoles as early as 2026, with the advent of the Xbox first-party traditional console a year later in 2027. Being fully ready to take advantage of the feature set of what will be RDNA 3.5 Plus or.
Oh, it also makes sense. So if developers get a head start with this more PC-like Xbox, then actually when the real or classic, it's called classic Xbox launches, then you have already games available maybe. Because I think that was a big problem with the current Series generation, that when it came out, there were barely any games, right? I mean, even today, I think most games still run on Xbox One as well, right? I mean, yeah, okay, they're optimized for Series, so you have better graphics or whatever, and I guess that's fine. I mean, that's the way it has been done on PC for years and years. What's the word? Jahrzehnt, how do you say this? Yeah, anyways, 10 years or more, 20 years, whatever. They always did it like this on PC. Like, you can play it with not so powerful hardware, and then you just get worse graphics, and if you have better hardware, you get better graphics. So no need to just develop for the newest, highest end hardware or whatever. So I think it will probably also still come in the video. They're more trying to streamline APIs and everything. That it doesn't matter if you develop for PC or for Xbox. It's basically the same game. You just release it. That's what I predict here. Yeah. How want the others like Nintendo want to compete with that? Well, Nintendo doesn't need to compete with that. They're on a whole other level. And Microsoft is forced to do this to actually catch up, you know. And so the Switch 2, I think, will be the best-selling video console of all time. So it already has a good start. Yeah, and PlayStation is as well doing fine. But I think even PlayStation is realizing what Microsoft realized like 5 years ago, or I'm not sure whenever they said it. That's not about hardware anymore. It's about software, right? So PlayStation started to release games on Steam as well to sell more copies of their games, because game development is so expensive. You cannot finance it with just a single crowd that buys your console, which is also why Microsoft is going full publisher and publishing games not only on Xbox and PC but also on PlayStation now. Yeah, you gotta reach the largest audience as possible to finance these games. PlayStation, which ones? What do you mean? Like PlayStation 5 is the current one, or what is your question?
Possibly full RDNA 4. The next generation OEM Xbox will be built on RDNA 4 with a custom microcode IP from Xbox, but unifying the graphics API for both Xbox and Windows simultaneously.
Yeah, that's what I just said. So the same API to use for Xbox and for PC. Actually, I thought it always was kind of like that, because isn't it called Xbox because it's DirectX, which is the graphics API on Windows? I always assumed it would be like the same thing, but apparently it's still quite different, and maybe they're finally getting it to be the same. PlayStation publishes games on Steam. They do. Sony. Yeah, okay, it's Sony. PlayStation is not the publisher. Sony is the company.
This is
That's
an
what you're
evolution
trying
that
to
converges the
tell me
console
on.
with PC, which will unify cross-play and cross-platform development. Hardware experts and leaks from the dev kit testing and the roadmap plans with AMD show that Xbox and partner studios will be giving us an insight into changing plans, debunking backward compatibility problems, and alleviating concerns over Xbox staying in the hardware business. The GDK or Xbox Development Kit leaks show RDNA 4 architecture built for speed on AI and real-time path traced ray tracing.
Yeah, so I'm not a hardware guy. RDNA 4 is just a buzzword for me, but isn't it exactly what we see here? So it's got even better ray tracing, and I think ray tracing is really a nice feature, but of course it costs a lot of power, so it's rarely used in games, even the current gen. So it will hopefully be possible to use more of that. And yeah, machine learning, of course, that's very interesting. I think it's mostly used for upscaling, right? That you get higher resolution, higher frame rates with that. Yeah, Stellar Blade. Oh, you mean which games? Yeah, a whole lot. All the big ones. They're just behind. Like, they first released on PlayStation, and then, I don't know, 1 or 2 years later on Steam. So the big ones are, of course, Spider-Man, right? I think that was the system seller on PlayStation 4. So you have them all here. Spider-Man Remastered, Spider-Man 2. So I'm not so sure which game is the newest or whatever. I don't follow it. But yeah, so all the Spider-Man games. God of War. I think they just released the second one. So I still haven't completed the other one. But yeah, Ragnarok now is also on Steam. That was all, of course, the PlayStation exclusive stuff. What else do we have? What was this? This crazy game where PlayStation was like, it's only possible on PlayStation 5 because our SSD is much faster. And now, of course, it's also on PC. Ratchet and Clank. Am I mistaken? It's not called like that? Ratchet, okay, it's completely spelled different. I think this the Steam search is really crazy. If you make one little spelling error, it will not find it. Like, come on, do some AI magic or whatever. Understand what I'm trying to look. So, Rift Apart, yeah, this was a big PlayStation title. Yeah, Helldivers. This one is actually finally coming to Xbox. So, also funny story, because people were like, oh my god, now Microsoft is publishing on PlayStation. Sony would never do the reverse. And now Helldivers is actually the first game that Sony is also publishing on Xbox. So next generation, all bets are off. But only Nintendo, you will always have to buy a Nintendo console. Deep Fried predicts. Nintendo does not play around with that stuff. Yeah, anyway, we got a bit sidetracked. Let's get back to the video.
It says that AMD will work directly with Microsoft to align the GDK on RDNA 4 architecture. This provides faster translation from the console version of the game to a PC version with all of the PC settings and capabilities. It also speeds up development time by cutting it in half in the RDNA 4 pipeline, while also boosting the performance of frame rates from 18 to 25% more frames. This can mean the difference between having path tracing on while also having 60 FPS. After 2026, with the implementation and marketing for the global OEM console, Xbox is creating a custom designed first-party traditional console with PC integration and advancement from the OEM consoles a year before.
With PC integration. Okay, so that's what I speculated earlier, that the Microsoft Xbox would not have these PC features, but actually it will also have that. Crazy. But then it will be really expensive, not? The only difference to ordinary PCs is that you can play Xbox games additionally. Yeah, and it's a big difference. It comes with a big back catalog, because Xbox is fully backwards compatible for generations. So a lot of games that you couldn't previously play on PC. I think that is not something to take lightly.
This is an Xbox extension in which they are calling the GDKX, the Games Development Extension, which is DirectX 12 Plus. The front end is about graphics-driven tech and advancement into RDNA 4, which will also allow Xbox to upgrade their next-generation console to UDNA, which is a unified RDNA AMD graphics architecture.
There's no way to play Xbox games on my PC, like with emulation? Well, older Xbox games, yes. But that's a good question. I never looked this up. Can you? I don't think you can. You can never emulate current generation consoles. That's too difficult. Can you emulate Xbox Series on PC? I doubt that. Emulating a Series X. Does not. But if you get Game Pass xCloud, yeah, why? I'm not sure what the point would be. Consoles are pretty much restricted PCs. Hopefully you wouldn't need an emulator. Okay, what does Gemini say? There isn't a full perfect emulator for Xbox Series. There are options that allow you to play some Xbox games on your PC. Yeah, okay, you can stream from an Xbox, you can stream from the cloud, stuff like that, yeah. But it would be too difficult. You need a more powerful PC, because this is current gen hardware, right? So maybe in 5 years you could do it, but yeah, I don't really think it's that appealing probably to people then. Can you emulate PS5 on PC? That would be actually more interesting, because all Microsoft games release on PC anyways, so why would you want to emulate the Xbox version nowadays? But PlayStation games, there's still some exclusives, so... But I would also think this hardware is still too new to do it. That's supposed have been about emulating PC on PS5, not emulating PS5 on PC. I might be wrong. I'd like to hear other opinions. Emulating the PS5 will at least require CPU as powerful as that of the PS5. A2 Zen Core. Oh my god, this is much text. Considering there's still no PS4 emulator almost 7 years later, you didn't need to worry about PS5 emulator for decades. So yeah, that's basically what I said. This takes really long. You can always usually just emulate old hardware. If I do not have a powerful PC, is there a way to play remote on a cloud server with much better hardware? Yeah, xCloud is just that. You can play with Game Pass Ultimate from the cloud.
The hardware leaks also say that this is the reason why the next generation Xbox operating system is so advanced. The system API could not be reached directly by the game OS. Every game will have its own partial OS on it, beside native hardware and software features for the Xbox/PC for 2026.
Okay, that sounds a bit wacko. So instead of it running on top of the operating system, like for example on a Windows PC, right, you have the Windows kernel running, and then inside the kernel, so to speak, you run the software. But in this case, every software comes with its own kernel, is how I understand it. And I actually guess that makes sense because of the PC features, right? Because I was thinking about this a lot actually when there were starting to be speculations that you could basically run Windows application and Xbox applications. Because how would you be able to run them at the same time, right? So either it would be kind of you are running inside Windows and then you're emulating an Xbox OS, I guess. Or it would be dual boot, which would be a bit bad from usability, right? Oh, let me restart my console into Windows mode. Oh, you want to play with me PUBG, Xbox? Sorry, I have to restart into console mode. So I guess that's probably what they're doing, right? You are in the Windows mode when you are in the menu. Then you start a console game and it loads the console OS with the game, I guess. It's just my interpretation from what you just said.
As Microsoft plans to build a modular Windows 12 with an Xbox foundation.
Modular Windows 12. Yeah, so obviously it's or actually, is it obvious? Windows 12, I'm still waiting to upgrade to Windows 11. And I know the support is running out this September. This would be really close, I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, so it's gonna be Windows 12. I didn't know Windows 12 was a thing yet. Windows 12. Offizielle Bestätigung gibt's noch nicht. They haven't confirmed it yet. Possible release in the autumn, fall of 2025. This is this year. Okay. Didn't know.
OEM
doesn't even make sense to install Windows 11 then? Should I go from 10 to 12 directly?
2026 console will be debuting with this rumored Windows 12 modular OS, all based on the Xbox operating system we see revealed with the Xbox ROG Ally X promo.
Okay, I think what he means is like, how would the UI look? And so they are releasing, I think it's not out yet, right? This weird PC handheld device. I mean, it's not weird, but it's marketed as this is an Xbox, the ROG Ally X here that you see on the screen, but it's actually just a PC with an Xbox-like UI, I guess, but it's just playing the PC games. So it cannot play any console games. It will play the PC version of your games because the Microsoft games, anyways, you have this, what do they always call it? Play Anywhere. When you buy it in the Microsoft store, you can always play it on PC and on Xbox. So the Microsoft games will work, your other console games will not work. But I guess the UI is interesting because it actually shows Steam games and Xbox games in the same UI. And so this will probably be the same kind of user experience on this new Xbox console. Yeah, it's a Steam Deck, except it's a Windows deck, I guess. So Steam Deck is running SteamOS, right? So, but it's the Microsoft version of a PC handheld, yeah.
RDNA 4, or more likened to an RDNA 3.5 Plus with custom Xbox microcode, can be a binary compatible not just to current gen, but also to older architecture across Xbox Series consoles and Xbox One, meaning they don't need to wait for UDNA to get everything ready for the next generation console to be compatible. One of Xbox's major problems this past generation is the documentation and porting process to the Xbox Series consoles, which allowed them less powerful ports of games
The documentation importing process, which allowed less powerful games. I don't understand that sentence, to be honest. What I can assume he's saying is that developers had problems developing for Xbox, right? Oh, I can skip the ad this time. Sorry. Not sure.
Compared
And just get all the women and all the consoles, Sammy. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
to the PS5. This leaker shows how the GDKX process will allow developers to optimize for the Xbox new SoC much faster than they did with the Xbox Series consoles.
Yeah, it will be faster to develop for it because the whole API is easier, I guess. My understanding from what he tried to say. Your wish is my command. Have fun.
Xbox plans to utilize this 1 year head start with an OEM third-party console to spin up the full next-generation RDNA features. This will make a major difference in optimization, performance, and rasterization, making your games look better and feel better behind the controls. The GDK leak shows 80 to 90% close to Xbox efficiency, upped clock to get native Xbox's targets. The OEM
80 to 90% close to Xbox efficiency. What do they mean by that? Efficiency in terms of power usage, maybe? Because I know consoles, of course, take less power than a full PC. Or what do they mean here?
SoC will have the Xbox microcode, and the regular RDNA 4 will just be a normal PC with all of the Xbox features.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the price has gotta be at least $1,000 or euros or whatever. I don't think you can do this for 500, which is the usual console pricing, right?
AMD's Jack Knois says that the next generation Xbox OEM console will have quick resume across PC and Xbox devices thanks to the custom SoC driving the Xbox experience.
Okay, that's actually awesome. There is no quick resume on PC, right? Steam doesn't have that. That you can jump right back in the game where you left off. So that would be awesome. I'm just not sure. Is it only quick resume for Xbox games or also for PC games?
Or UI while playing native Xbox games.
Native
Saying
Xbox,
that, quote,
yeah.
It
Okay.
remembers where you left
Said
off,
it.
no matter what. Close quote. Xbox will be using a custom neural processing unit with DirectSR for AI-powered super resolution upscaling.
Okay,
and
upscaling.
A new API developed by
Better FPS.
Microsoft to simplify and unify the integration of
A quick resume is I can go on my Xbox, see the last 5 or 10 games, I don't know how many exactly, and I can load right in, open the game, and I'm right where I left off. You don't even need to save it, you know, if the game doesn't have a save. I mean, every game has a save, but it basically loads you right into the world where you left off. But it usually only makes sense for single-player games, because if you do it with a multiplayer game, it will always tell you, oh, you disconnected from the server, and load you back into the main menu. So that's always a bit silly, but for single-player games, it's really awesome. You can immediately continue playing where you left. You don't need to go through menus, load save game, etc. You're just right in there.
super resolution technologies like NVIDIA's DLSS into games and applications that are using.
That's kind of like, you know, it from emulators, right? It's storing the state in the RAM, basically, I think it's how it works, and it's restoring that state of the game without going through the mechanisms of the game to load a save game or something. Yeah, you can power it off. I think it's persisted on disk, probably. Not sure. Don't hold me down to that. I don't know what happens. My Xbox, of course, always in standby, so.
X12. DirectSR provides a single interface for developers to integrate multiple super resolution technologies without needing separate SDKs for each GPU. This simplifies the process and can make things automated to get better resolution and higher quality looking games without sacrificing performance in the optimization
It saves a bit of time.
And developers can do this across the next Xbox console, the OEM supported consoles, handhelds, and top-end powerful desktop PCs. Looking at the big picture of Xbox's hardware plans, with a 2026 release of an OEM third-party console, expect a PC console-like form factor with compatibility for Xbox's proprietary SSD cards, but also the option to utilize conventional M.2 SSDs.
Okay, so that's an interesting point, because in the beginning he said those OEM Xbox PCs, whatever, wouldn't be extendable. You couldn't change it. Actually, now he's saying you can plug in regular PC SSD cards, drives. So that's nice. That's probably a lot cheaper than buying these specific extension chips that Microsoft is selling with Seagate for the current Xbox.
Xbox will possibly support physical-based game discs in 2027 with their own console, but do not expect a modular design of the OEM console to play your discs from the Xbox library.
Don't expect the module design. So he's saying it's so compact they won't have a disk drive in it, right? At the same time, he's showing us a picture where they put in a disk, so I'm really confused. I'm saying you can probably connect an external disk drive, right? That's the solution that Sony went with the new PlayStation 5 Pro, I think. That will probably be like that. You have to connect external drive.
The bigger question is, why would you spend over $1,000 for a limited edition?
Okay, now he says over $1,000, just like I predicted. Yeah, it's not doable under 1,000.
Custom PC console box in 2026 when you can build or buy your own desktop PC.
Sorry, advertisement.
This OEM third-party Xbox console will do something that no PC can do right now, and that's play your existing Xbox library, plus millions of games across the PC storefronts.
Yeah, so I think this is tailored towards Xbox players that want to switch to PC and still be able to play their backlog, right? So for a PC player, I mean, some might want to play, oh, that's a nice game on Xbox, but most of the games are anyways playable on PC. So yeah, this is more the other way around, I think, for an Xbox player to move to PC.
Which already offers incredible value over any existing laptop or desktop PC. For fans that are waiting for the real first-party Xbox console in 2027, expect the price to be just as high and possibly a bit more flexible and slightly more powerful with the...
Okay, saying that the Microsoft Xbox then 2027 will be just as high in price, because I was hoping they might do it a bit cheaper. But maybe a bit more powerful even than the OEM ones. That's interesting. So Microsoft building basically the high-end version and the OEMs building the more medium-range version of it. Other than that, what can it do besides gaming? Well, I assume it can play all Windows applications. So it's a PC. Whatever you want to do on a PC, Sammy. Don't. I think you're asking the naughty questions. I'm not answering that. You want to watch porn on it? Watch porn on it.
Console. For those that love brand new tech and are anxious to see what you can get under the TV.
Who watches DVDs in 2025? It doesn't have a disk drive, so you would have to connect external drive, I guess.
TV experience with an Xbox OEM console. This might excite fans before the next generation of Xbox fully kicks off. Xbox definitely isn't getting out of the hardware business anytime soon. We may see a few third-party console PCs as well as their own console in the next couple of years. And with all of these options, the future of gaming is looking better than ever. This is Colt Eastwood. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I've covered the Xbox next generation hardware plan, the software, the storefronts.
Yeah, well, thanks for updating us, Colt.
OEM console, and there's a lot to be excited about because I honestly think Xbox can't just keep doing the same thing over and over and provide just a regular traditional console. It just won't work.
They lost at a traditional
new OEM console in 2026
market, whatever.
will do really well overseas and outside of North and South America, where the market for Xbox is so much smaller compared to their competition. If you ended up enjoying this video, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell to be notified of new weekly content. If you want to further support,
I am excited about it, definitely. Yeah, I think many people already thought Xbox is done for. Like, the current gen might be the last, with them moving to be more like a publisher, publishing to PlayStation as well, and already they're not selling enough Xboxes. But Microsoft has been saying for a long time, it's not about hardware, it's about Game Pass subscriptions and things like that. So this seems like a logical next step, because they always were a PC software company, right? So they're trying to make an Xbox more of a transition to PC, I guess. But the price point is really the interesting thing, right? If all the Xboxes are only $1,000 or more, I can't really imagine that they're gonna go that route, because I think they still would want to have like the Series S model that they have right now as the Game Pass entry machine, I think, right? So that's what I would predict, that there's still like a cheaper version that can then probably only play Xbox games, not PC games. And then instead of the Series X, the X version, the more powerful console, you would have this PC hybrid. Yeah, that could be interesting. But yeah, it depends on the price. I can already play PC games on PC, obviously. But yeah, eventually I might need a new PC sometime. And then the question is, you know, if it's cheaper, then how powerful could it really be for new games? And if it's really powerful to really be able to play the newest PC games in high quality, then it's gonna be, well, just as expensive as a PC, right? Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but I'm really excited to find out what the future holds for us. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and maybe a sub to the channel. Check my Twitch as well, twitch.tv/deepfried. Hope to see you there.